Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching A Healthy Alternative. Today, we're finally going to be doing the second update with Steven as he's been going through his fasting journey. Steve, why don't you stand up and show him a little bit what's going on with your body. There you go. Y'all can see he's slimmed down a lot. So we're about to get into this interview with Steve and find out how did he lose. How much did you lose?
Over 130 pounds.
130 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long one.
It's gonna be a long one.
It's gonna be a long one.
Snip this part, put it in the beginning. It's gonna be long. Sit down, strap in, but I guarantee you it's worth it.
It's worth it. Get your popcorn.
Get your popcorn, unless you're fasting.
Or unless you're eating alkaline.
Go ahead and get you some kale or some mushrooms.
Chickpeas.
Get you some
Chickpeas
chickpeas.
are good for snacks. You cook chickpeas. All right, guys, so as you can see, Steve's literally like half the size he was the last time we were here. So today, it's December 22nd, 2017. So we were here earlier this year in February, I think it was, beginning of February. And this is the difference. So I'll show you guys a side by side real quick, just so you can see the other video of us doing this recording. I'm the same size if you need something to compare it to.
You actually probably slimmed down some.
I probably have slimmed down some actually because I've been doing my gallbladder flushes and I've been losing, like 5-6 pounds every time I do one. So I've slimmed down a little bit, but whatever. I'm reasonably close, probably within 5 pounds of what I was when I was here last. So that'll give you a good idea of how much weight this man has lost. You said you started off at 375 pounds originally. That was before fasting. Okay, yeah. Let's get at it. What did you originally start doing?
So when I originally wanted to lose weight, I started off at 375 pounds. And what I decided, of course, I did what everyone else does. I went to the gym and I started eating right. I was eating chicken, turkey, lean meats. I was trying to keep my carbs, minimal. And I was just eating vegetables, but I wasn't eating the right vegetables. Really wasn't eating fruit at all. And about 3 months or so, I dropped down to 352. So it was about 23 pounds or so. And it took me about 3 months to do that. And to be honest, I didn't really see any real change.
Well, at 375 pounds, 20 pounds ain't gonna do nothing, right? Like, proportionately speaking, if I lose 20 pounds, I'm gonna look dead. But if I'm 400 pounds, you ain't gonna see that.
It's not a big difference. Yeah. No.
Well, okay, so you did the traditional route, you saw some, and now had you kept going along with it, what would eventually happen is you would have plateaued. Because that's what usually happens. Either you plateau or you slip up. And the slip up costs you so much because what that route does, it slows down your basal metabolic rate. And of course, then you start eating a little bit more than you're used to and you start gaining all the weight back. And of course, that discourages you. And it's just this snowball effect right up the hill to 375 pounds again.
Now you're right back to where you started.
So let's get into some of the things that you saw. So you've lost a ton of weight.
Yeah.
Now, what was the main thing that you did to lose all of this weight? How did you do it?
Well, I think that you guys probably know by now, I've been doing a little bit of fasting. Just a little bit, but fasting, obviously, primarily. Yeah. That's really it. I've just been fasting a lot.
So we need to know what type of fasting you're doing, how long you fasted, what did you drink while you were fasting, what did you put in your drink, what were you eating while you were fasting? Let's answer all them questions.
Okay, well, let's get those kind of out of the way. So what I did was I did long-term water fasting. So I originally started off, and you guys can, if you go back to the old videos, you'll see how I started off. I started off with the 5 days on and the 2 days off. So I originally started off with that, and I did 2 rounds of that. And then what I did was, as I was coming off the 2 days, I noticed that I was just gaining a little more weight. And then the next time I started fasting again, I had to lose that original weight and then start losing new weight. So it became frustrating. So what I decided to do was I switched off the 5-2 and then I upped it to 10-2. I did the 10-2 one time. And then after the 10-2, I ate, of course, and then gained a little weight back. And I said, you know what, next time I'm gonna do 14-2. So I did 14-2, and then I did 14-2 again.
Right.
The next fast after that was 19 days. So after the 2 rounds of 14, I did 19 days. And then the last fast that I had done, and that was 10 days. So that was my first 3 months of fasting. So from the time that we originally started the video, the first video, that was the first 3 full months of fasting, which was almost exactly 90 days. And I had actually leveled out to about 90 pounds at that time.
Right. So 90 pounds in 90 days. And we did update the Facebook, the group chat. So if you guys are interested in, if you're not a member, you can join the group. And there's a search option where you can either search Stephen Michael, which is his name, or you can try to search lost 90 pounds in 3 months or 100 pounds in 3 months. It's one of those search options, and you can see where he was updating at that time so that you know that the numbers that we're giving you are legit. And I think he even had some pictures and stuff up there.
Yeah, there's a before and after up there. So we weren't able to get the video at the time when I went to Texas after the first 3 months. Unfortunately, I do apologize, forgive me. But I promise, if you go to the Facebook page, or we could probably show it here.
Yeah, I'll show the picture.
Okay, so you'll be able to see exactly where I was after that time. And that was right before my birthday, so that was in May. So the thing is that we didn't really, I guess at the time, realize that the weight will kind of level itself out. So at first I was losing on a consistent 2 pounds. Well, it was more than 2. Started off much higher. And then, of course, what ended up happening is that you start to lose about 2 pounds a day. And then, the body starts to level out a little bit. And then so over those 90 days, and I believe that's what Dr. Sabi lost as well too, right?
Yeah, I knew that he was gonna start losing weight a little bit slower, and
I didn't know.
It's something that I try to warn people about, because I tell people you're looking at an average of 2 pounds a day, but that's really if you're doing short-term fasting or medium-term, like less than 10 days. If you start doing the 2-week fasting or 30-day fasting, you're gonna start off, 3 pounds a day, level out at about 2 pounds a day, and then eventually after about 2 weeks, you're gonna go to about 1 pound a day. Because what has to happen is your body has to eat up all of that dead protein, the fat, the loose skin, right? So you don't want to rapidly lose weight because you don't give your body enough time to eat the dead protein, then it's gonna, give you loose skin.
Yep.
So if you're not losing pounds on the scale, you're losing inches. So during those times, I'd be curious to know, because I know I asked you to start taping yourself because you were concerned about that too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So what was happening is that during this time, I was, of course, losing weight. And then, I would call Chris, I would text him, and I'd be like, Chris, man, 3 days in a row, I haven't lost any weight. Like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, man, listen, don't worry about it. This is what's happening. So the way they explained it was, once again, when your body has to regulate itself, and if you are simply not losing weight, your body is still doing something. You're still alive. You're still moving. So your body still needs energy. So what's happening is your body is simply shrinking. So what you want to do is, the scale is just a guide, to be honest with you. And it's one of those things where it's a tool, but one of the things that I like to utilize, and probably what a lot of you want to utilize if you're going to be really going to be fasting to try to lose large amounts of weight, you need to get a tape measurer. And the tape measurer is going to allow you to really get a good sense of where you're at, because you can lose a ton of weight, but what is the weight? So what's more important is we just don't want to lose just weight. We want to actually shrink. We want to contour our body. That's what we really want at the end of the day. We want to look good.
Right.
And I mean, of course we want to be healthy, but for the most part, everyone out there, you want to look good, right? Everybody shake your head, look good. Yeah. If you want to look good, hit the like button. But that's at the end of the day, that's what we want to do. And that's what taping does. It allows you to actually see how much size you're actually losing. And I call them shrink weeks. Mm-hmm. So you're going to hit those times where you're like, I lost 2 pounds or 3 pounds in a week, but that's what you want. That means, your body has got to the point where it's like, hey, well, we're done losing those pounds. Now let's go ahead and shrink things up and tighten things up. And that's when you'll put the pants on the next day. And now you're 2 sizes down in one day. So
I think at one point in time, I think you told me, correct me if I'm wrong, you told me you lost like an inch in a day or something?
Yeah, it was actually 2 inches.
2 inches overnight. So you guys are always hitting me up. Oh, I've been fasting for 2 days. I haven't lost any weight. And I tell you, tape yourself. He's the proof. Like, you lose 2 inches in one day? That's insane.
I mean, I started off my shirt size, I started off at a 5X. So that video that I originally did, that shirt was a 5X. 5 extra large. Okay, if y'all don't, 5 extra large. Okay.
That's like taking 4 larges and putting them into one shirt.
Right, exactly. That's a 5X. This shirt I have on is a large.
Do you still have that shirt?
I think I do.
We're going to put that shirt on later.
I think I kept it.
We're going to put that shirt on later.
I think I kept it.
We'll see if we can find it. Hopefully.
I kept a couple shirts just for these situations, but I will have to check.
All right.
But so I started off at a 5X, and then, there are some times that, I literally woke up and I made a video, and I sent it to Chris, and I called him. I said, man, I just put on a 2X t-shirt. Like, I was just in a 3X 2 days ago, and I put on a 2X t-shirt, and I thought I was doing something great. I felt fantastic. I was like, man, I'm in a 2X t-shirt. Like, I never wear t-shirts. I was too big. I didn't look good in them. My body didn't feel good. I was uncomfortable, so I always wore button-ups. I think I probably own 2 button-ups now, just on accident, and one of them is a medium. So, it's been fantastic.
Okay, so what did you eat while you were fasting? What did you drink while you were fasting? Did you put something in your water? Let's get into some of those things.
Okay, so while I was fasting, let's start with drink, because that's the easiest one. So while I was fasting, I drank water.
Wait a minute, just water? You mean juice? You mean herbal tea? Do you mean coconut water? What about putting Splenda in your water, or
salt?
I've heard salt, pink Himalayan sea salt.
You name it. I've heard it. Listen, guys, it's simple. Water fasting. What you do is literally in the name of it. You drink water and you do not eat.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. I talk to people all day long about fasting. I've helped a lot of people, and it makes me feel great to help people. Spend a lot of time putting into people. And the questions I get all the time, probably the number one question is, what can I put in my water? And I answer 1,000,000 times, nothing. I drank distilled water. I started off with 1 gallon every day. It was hard at first, getting that gallon in. And then over time, it was easy. It would actually feel a little weird if I didn't drink a gallon of water. Mm-hmm. But it was just distilled water, and that's all I drank. I didn't put any lemon in it, no pink Himalayan sea salt, no vegetable broth, no bone broth, no electrolytes.
Hold on now. Now you just said the magic word, electrolytes. That's like electrolytes is like, when you're a kid and there's certain words you're not allowed to say, like your mom doesn't want you to say, like stupid or shut up. That's electrolytes for a healthy alternative, right? I don't mind people having their opinions about things, but this channel is all about sifting through all of that. That's the whole point, is to give you guys the truth about these things. And electrolytes, they are not something that you have to worry about during a fast, period.
Nope.
And we have done multiple videos. John had blood work done while he was fasting. He had been fasting for almost 8 months when he went to the doctor and had blood work done. Now, granted, it wasn't 8 months straight, But we've had people tell us that, oh, well, if you eat really well leading up to the fast, you don't have to worry about electrolytes. But the mass majority of the time in that 8 months leading up to his blood work, he did not actually eat that well, and he did a lot of fasting.
He didn't eat good at all.
So when he was eating pizza and he was eating wings and nachos. But he only ate like once or twice a week, if that. So he did do a lot of fasting, and when he ate garbage, and all of his deficiencies were gone. But that wasn't enough for y'all. You needed more proof. So Steve decided to step up to the plate, and Steve's been doing the 14-day fasting, the 19-day fasting, and we actually had him do his blood work, and you were doing a 16-day?
I was doing a 16-day, and I was on day 10 when I actually got the blood work done.
When we got the blood work done. Mm-hmm. Now I'm gonna put a card so you guys can see the video I did where we went over his electrolyte levels, but we're gonna let him talk about it now since he's here.
So, of course, he's going to put the card so you can actually see the actual video, but I was actually a little surprised not really surprised, but I don't know. You know, a lot of people, they talk about electrolytes and there's a lot of misinformation out there. So one of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to see. I had to know. I mean, because I've told people all the time, you don't need to worry about it. I've seen from other people. And I said, I want to know for myself. I need solid proof. I need solid evidence.
Right.
So I go and they take my blood. You know, I was watching it leave my arm. It looked fantastic. It was great. But they take the blood and the results come back in. And as soon as the results came back in, I immediately called Chris and said, Chris, I got the results in. You're not going to believe this. So
you are the baby.
So I call him and I'm sitting in my car. I'm at work and we're on the phone and I'm going over all the numbers with him. And all of my electrolyte levels were normal. Every single one of them.
So you mean to tell me you were fasting for 10 days at the time of the blood test?
At the time of the blood test.
And prior to the blood test, you had been fasting the majority of the year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he was going to have a deficiency, he should have saw it.
I would have had it.
And I challenge you guys to do the exact same thing. I'm sure getting blood work done isn't that expensive. If you are that concerned with electrolytes, stop listening to what everybody else says and just go see for yourself. It's very simple. Put yourself on a 10-day fast, and on day 10 or day whatever, go and get your blood work done and see if your electrolytes are deficient. And if they're not, then stop spreading that misinformation that's telling people to put stuff in their water, because what you're doing is you're slowing down, you're hindering the fasting process. The reason why water fasting works so well is because you don't activate your digestive system. You're not putting anything in your water, right? So any little thing we put in our water is going to somewhat hinder the process. Now, I've had people say, oh, I still see weight loss, because I chew gum or because I put lemon in my water or whatever. And you will. The one thing I want you guys to realize is on this channel, I don't really promote weight loss like that. We talk about weight loss, but you never see me say how to lose a whole bunch of weight, right? Because
this video might have something to do with some weight loss, though.
I mean, this video is going to talk about weight loss, and we've talked about weight loss in other videos because that's something that draws people's attention, but I don't go out of my way to actively promote pure weight loss. I always talk about all the other benefits of fasting, and if weight loss is your goal, then okay, have some lemon with your fast, have some coconut water, do whatever, because you will lose weight. Are you going to get all the benefits of the fast? No, you're not. Right? Do you want to heal your liver? Do you want to heal your kidneys, your lungs? We're going to start getting into some of the other things that Steve has seen happen because he did pure water fasting. And it happens more quickly. When you do anything to your water, it's going to slow it down. And that's the reason the misinformation is out there. They don't want you guys getting results quickly and effectively and spreading that information. So what do? They tell you drink bone broth, right? Jason Fung, I love the guy. He's amazing when it comes to fasting. But he will say, hey, if you could get the results you want and you drink bone broth or vegetable broth or whatever on your fast, go for it. Do you know why he promotes it like that? Because he's all about obesity, right? His profession is getting people from being obese to being a healthy weight. And he also does, other stuff with diabetes and whatever. So did you want to add anything to that?
I mean, you said it really good, actually.
I get all passionate. I'm not trying to take your shine, man.
No, man, you got the
This
shine,
is your
man.
video.
Don't worry about it, man.
This is your video.
I'm just, listen, you're number one, I'm number two.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, Jason Fung, he's fantastic. But once again, just like Chris said, he is all about obesity. So obesity is just weight loss, period. Weight loss. Now, when you start fasting is so powerful. Just like we talked about John, he ate garbage when he was fasting, and he still lost a lot of weight, still got healthy. That's how powerful fasting is. You can still do those things, but is that really what you want to do? Really, is that really what you want to do?
No.
All right, not me either. So, what I did is that when I was fasting, I started off eating not healthy. I didn't eat good at all. I was gonna try to mix something there, make it sound good. No, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, because you're not gonna get too many videos of me, so I'm just gonna be honest with you. I eat garbage too, and I'm sure a lot of you do as well. The first time you started fasting, you don't eat for 5 days, you don't eat for 10 days, and you start craving everything. We've talked about this a million times. You're gonna crave stuff you haven't had in years. You're gonna crave all this stuff, and guess what? I went ahead and settled some of those cravings. So, I mean, hey, I had some things that I knew. I said Chris would kill me if he knew I had this, and I didn't tell him. Some things I did, but what eventually he started doing is he would get into my head, and he was like, Steve, man, this is what you need to eat. Do it this way. Your results will be different. You won't gain that weight in between, the times that you're fasting and not fasting. And that's what I did. And that was my biggest reason for the increases in fasting days originally, because I was tired of gaining 3 pounds, 4 pounds, 5 pounds, 6 pounds. I mean, listen, guys, I broke my fast bad sometimes. Anything bad you can break your fast with, I've done it. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest, man. Now, but also I can tell you that's what you don't want to do, right? So what I eventually started eating, probably in the last 6 months, 7 months or so, primarily is pretty much alkaline. So, of course, you've heard us talk about it on the channel. You've heard us talk about it, of course, on Facebook, and that's what I eat. I mean, I don't get as creative as Chris does. And the only reason is because I really enjoy cooking and I really enjoy food. And I know that as soon as I start creating, I want to keep eating. So I primarily ate the same thing. Kale, onions, mushrooms, green peppers, avocados, and that's about it.
You did some smoothies?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I did, smoothie. Well, fruit, of course. Well, should have done way more fruit, but fruit's fantastic. Fruit smoothies, mangoes, strawberries. Mix it. If you want to sweeten it up, you can mix it with a little bit of agave, like raw blue agave.
Yeah.
You can put a little of that in if you need to, but
it's like a teaspoon, if that.
Very very small amount. But that's something that was like my coffee. You know how people would wake up and need their coffee. And as soon as you start fasting and you really start getting on a regimen, I mean, you can have a smoothie with literally just your distilled water and some of those fruits, and literally you'll get instant pick-me-up.
Yeah.
You'll instantly feel the boost, and it's fantastic. So that's what I primarily ate, and that's how I ate during those fasting periods in order to, of course, not gain that weight back in between. And it just in general made me feel a lot better overall.
Okay, so let's get into some of the issues you had. Okay, obviously you were obese, but that's the obvious thing. You can see that, right? But there's so much that comes along with being overweight. And I don't know if you guys associate the overweight with the other issues that come along with it, but we're going to talk about some of the issues you had. Now, I know you weren't formally diagnosed with diabetes, but there's plenty of people that run around out there that aren't formally diagnosed with diabetes and have diabetes. So that's where sometimes somebody might die and you were like, yo, what happened? Oh, he had undiagnosed diabetes, right? So I know we talked, and some of the symptoms that you told me about were similar to John's. So did you feel like you might have had diabetes or a pre-diabetic situation?
I would, to be honest with you, I never was a fan of the doctors, so I never really went to doctor, and it was never really diagnosed.
Yeah.
But just based upon the information that, I've researched and the information that Chris has researched, and just from helping others, I definitely had to been pre-diabetic.
Yeah,
there's no way I wasn't. I was 375 pounds. I wasn't healthy. There's no way that I wasn't. Our sister had pre-diabetes.
Right.
John had diabetes. My dad has diabetes. We're working on
Currently
him.
has diabetes.
We're working on him. So yeah, I probably did.
Right. All right. So diabetes. What else did you have going on?
I had liver issues. I had a toe fungus that was really bad.
When did you first notice your toe fungus? I think that's important.
When it first came into my life,
Yeah.
probably like 5th grade.
Okay, so the reason I wanted to bring that up is because people think because it's a kid or whatever that they're healthy. Whatever. Nah, you can be very sick at a very young age. Even coming out the womb, you can be very sick. And guess what? The doctors might tell you, oh, it's genetic, or oh, it's mutated genes or DNA or whatever. And the reason I want to bring that up is because now at the age of 30?
31.
31 now? He's gotten rid of something that he's had all his life, pretty much.
Entire life.
Okay, go ahead. What else? Toe
It's gone.
fungus. What else we got?
So I'm just going to read this list. I wrote a little list down because there's so much. It's just too much to remember. So I had my skin cleared up dramatically. I had really bad issues with my skin. I had a lot of scars that had cleared up. A lot of people ask me about how fast it eats proteins.
Right.
So if you have a deep cut, what happens is when that cut coagulates and it scars over, you can feel it. You touch the arm, it doesn't feel smooth. Well, I don't know if you guys can see. I don't even know if it's
Where it was.
It's right here.
I think I remember that cut.
You
remember.
can't see it. He can't even see it.
No, I can't see it.
Wow.
I would never know it was there, but I think I
even-
do remember that cut being there.
I'm actually a little surprised right now because I haven't even paid attention to this, and there's literally nothing there.
That's insane.
I just blew my own mind on camera. I got a scar right here from playing football in high school. It's middle school. There was a guy though, he was playing, he had soccer cleats on. Anyone who plays football out there knows you don't play with soccer cleats because they're metal. And with football, you cut yourself. Guy had soccer cleats on, cut me. It was about 2 inches thick. 2 inches long. And as soon as you touch my arm, you can feel it was raised. And literally there's nothing there now.
Yeah, I can't see it.
That's insane. Sorry guys, I didn't even realize that. I had issues like once again with the scars. I had a lot of joint pain, especially my knees, my lower back. All of those issues pretty much cleared up. I had a really bad discoloration on the back of my neck. I looked that information up years ago. The discoloration on the back of the neck for different races will be a different color. So my neck was very black, and it pretty much cleared up, just completely. And a lot of that has to do with how much toxicity you have in your body. And you can look this information up. So you definitely can look into that. My lungs, I can breathe now. I am faster. I literally feel lighter. Losing 130 pounds, you can imagine. So I go to the gym, and you can feel all these different things. My teeth got a lot whiter. Probably the biggest, one of another big ones I had ever since I was a child. Every time I would go to the doctor, they would mention something about my heart. And they would say, well, there's a small murmur there, but it's really nothing. One point they did a scan, they did an x-ray, they said, well, there's nothing to worry about. It'll clear itself up as you get older. The last time I went to the doctor, probably about 2 years ago, he did mention something about it. This last time that I went, there was no mention about it. It was fantastic.
I guess it cleared itself up.
Must have just cleared itself up, I guess. But those were probably some of the most prevalent physical benefits that I had experienced.
Did you have any numbness ever?
I did in my big toe on the right foot. I did have numbness there, but that's gone now.
Okay. I thought you mentioned one time numbness in the arm or just lack of sensation or something.
Well, what I did have is when I just associate that with joint pain. I had tendonitis in my wrist, so I was not able to do this. If you have tendonitis, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I had a bracelet on for a long time. A wrist bracelet was on for a long time, so I don't have to wear that anymore. And I mean, that just completely cleared up as well. All from fasting. I took no pills, no medicines. It just cleared itself up.
It worked itself out. Well, a lot of times, a lot of the problems that we have in our body is inflammation. It's inflammation. And inflammation has the ability to rear its ugly head in very unique ways. Joint pain, problems breathing, poor circulation, just the list goes on. The one thing that I do want to talk about is the liver. And one thing that I don't think Steve is actually aware of, because he's been a little inactive since I've been promoting this, is the gallbladder flush. And we're going to get Steve doing some gallbladder flushes coming up here pretty soon. So the next update we see, we're probably going to have more improvement, because the gallbladder is the master organ that controls your immune system. This is something that you've not been taught in school. They won't tell you what your true immune system is, but it's a system of organs that are designed to detoxify the body. That is your true immune system. It's not the white blood cells. As a matter of fact, the white blood cells, which I believe they're called lipocytes, are not good for you. And let me not say that. I can say with melanated people, we're not supposed to have white blood cells. I'm not really sure about, unmelanated people, Caucasian people. I'm not really sure. But I know that I was listening to a African doctor who was talking about how there were certain tribes or whatever he was looking at, and they had no white blood cells at all, or they had a very low white blood cell count. So when you talk about your true immune system, you're talking about your liver, which is the master organ, and then you've got your spleen, your gallbladder, your kidneys, your lungs, just to name a few. And it's keeping those organs vitalized so that you can properly process out toxins and you won't have some of the issues that he had. I know with the fungus, that comes from a low functioning liver. And so we know that the liver did start to detoxify just from fasting. The gallbladder and liver flush promote the removal of bile stones or gallstones or just calcified stones from salts and all of these minerals that they're telling you to take in your water for electrolytes. Well, what happens? All those rocks, because that's what they are, they get all, calcified, and they start blocking your bile ducts. And the bile is super important. So we're not going to go super, super deep into it, but I just wanted to mention it because I don't think that you weren't aware of it.
No, I wasn't.
I tried to talk to him a couple of times, and Steve is going. He's always going.
I get busy, man. Should I tell him about?
I think you should. You
right.
Feel comfortable.
So since we're talking about the gallbladder and just different, what do you call it? What do they call it? The little
bile stones.
Bile stones. I think that's what it was. So I'm gonna tell you guys something. It's a little personal. But I'm gonna share it anyway, because who knows, man? Maybe somebody out there had the same issue or has the same issue, and so I'm just gonna explain it. So for a while, for quite some years, I had a small growth in a very private part of my body. And it was very concerning to me simply because it didn't really hurt, but I'm sure it could be felt, and it was there. I tried to remove it personally with sharp objects and tried to almost like squeeze it out like a pimple. Mm-hmm. And it was dug in under the skin pretty good, and it could not be removed. So one day, actually pretty recently, and this is after months and months and months of fasting, what happened is I had some pain in that area, and it was inflamed. It almost looked like there was a pimple. It was about to pop. So what I did is I actually, just popped it like a pimple, and of course some pus came out. And eventually what happened is I squeezed this growth out, and it fell on the floor, and it sounded like a pen hit the floor, or like a writing pen hit the floor. So it was very hard, and it was literally like a cyst or like something of that nature. And it just kind of like left a hole. And of course it healed up after like 2 days, so I was still fasting. But it was very difficult for me to, be with women because I was nervous that they would feel it, or they would ask like, oh, what's that? Or think it was something weird. I'm like, I kept to myself for a long time. So having that heal itself has completely changed, me on a different level,
personal level.
Yeah, on a very personal level. So no one knows this information. You guys are the first. So
the whole world knows.
Now the whole world knows. But I mean, that's a very big thing. So even the things that you guys think that maybe can't be healed, I never even thought that fasting would basically push that out of my body.
Yeah.
After I had used objects to try to remove it myself, and my body eventually said, we need to push this out, and my body literally pushed it out after years of being there and causing me issues and not even wanting to talk to females or anybody because I didn't want to have to even mentally deal with that. That was a big thing.
That's huge, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you decided to share it because there's so many people out there that are going to be helped by that, whether it's, a growth in a private area or anywhere. Basically, what we're saying is that, and it took a while, right? You were fasting for like 4 or 5 months?
No, this is recent. I mean, this happened 2 months ago. So it's been 8 months. I'm on 10 months now.
10 months, so 8 months. It took 8 months of fasting.
Heavy fasting.
Heavy fasting. Remember, he was doing the 14 days every once in a while. He was doing the 20 plus days every once in a while. So one thing that you need to understand is this is not some magic trick, right? There's processes that happen in your body, and your body is very intelligent. It's going to take care of the priority first, which was his obesity and the toxicity that comes along with it. But as it started, melting that away, then it could start dealing with other issues. That's why it's important to make fasting a lifestyle versus let me get this quick fix. Let me lose 20, 40 pounds. I got to fit in this dress. I'm about to get married. Let me lose this 50 pounds real quick and then cut it out. We need to start changing the way we think. We all have what Dr. Sebu called acid thinking. The foods that we eat cause an acidic reaction in our body, and that reaction causes us to think improperly. We don't think well, and I say that we're all toxic, we're all sick, and that also goes along with your thinking. So if you start making fasting a way of life, which is what I've done, I fast every day technically because I always skip breakfast. The first meal of the day is usually lunch, or sometimes I'll just have one meal at the end of the night. And that's okay. I've actually been able to maintain my weight like that really, really well. I do want to gain some more weight, and then I lost some more weight doing the gallbladder flush. But I was telling you that I lost, 5 pounds in one day?
Yep.
Which beat his record.
That's wow, like
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but look how I was much
big,
bigger
right.
than yeah. So for him to lose that amount of weight, and he's already consistently doing some sort of fasting, for you to lose that amount at your size in one day, that's insane. That'd be like me losing 10 pounds.
Right.
That's
and I've been trying to get you hip to it, but we'll get you there. We'll get you there. All right, so amazing things have happened. What else do we got? We've got some mental things that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the big things that people will notice, and you may not notice it at first because this is one of those benefits that's going to take a little bit of time, but you have mental clarity. The benefits that come from fasting mentally are very difficult to explain. It's almost like you have to just feel it. The best way to explain it is that there literally is a fog or a cloud that just lifts off of your brain. And until you fast for some time consistently, you're not going to really understand what I'm saying. But there is everyone, and just like you talked about Sabi, how he has the acid mind,
right?
You'll feel that start to release and you'll start thinking in a completely different way.
Yes.
So my brain, it started to almost rewire itself. I literally would look at something I saw previously one way, and then now I would see it completely different. I would look at my job differently. I looked at the relationships I have with friends and family, and I looked at all of them differently. And it was difficult in one way, because when you start to actually see things in a different way, you feel different about people. And not just friends or associates, because those people, can be a little more difficult, they can be fairly easy to get rid of or keep. But when you start looking at your relationships differently, whether, it's your spouse, or whether it's a boyfriend, whether it's a girlfriend, and when you start realizing, I don't know if this person is really for me, it's a benefit to fasting, because it's really benefiting you. And then you'll start to just see how this relationship is helping you or hurting you. Are you getting back what they're giving you? And the same thing with family, and that's the hardest one, because you'll have family members that are toxic, and fasting will open your mind to be able to see those. And if you have to, and you got to cut somebody off, no matter who they are in your life, fasting will give you the power, the mental fortitude, the galls to do it, and not feel bad about it, because you understand that person was not really there for you. So the mental clarity was probably huge. Stresses in my life, stressful situations. It gave me the ability to see a stressful situation and kind of decipher how to move in the situation a little better.
Right.
And to really kind of get over it a lot faster, instead of kind of just burrowing myself in the situation. A lot of times when a stressful situation happens, we burrow in it and we kind of dig into it. We start getting depressed, and fasting allowed me to start to move into a stressful situation and then just jump right out of it. Whatever, solve it, deal with the problem, and then get out of it and keep moving. So that's those two things are probably the biggest mental, I would say.
Right.
I do have spiritual written down here, but that's really kind of its own category in and of itself. But that is mental clarity is huge. And once again, I do apologize. I'm having a hard time explaining it. It's one of those things where you just have to start fasting, and when you do, you really understand it.
Yeah, I actually noticed that now I've been on this journey for 2 years, maybe a little over 2 years. No, it's about 2 years now, and I have noticed that I view the world differently. So I started off where Steve started off, because you see people and individuals, and that's what's close to you. And then after you start really like doing this thing as a lifestyle, you're able to start looking outside of just your little circle, and you start looking at the world, and you view the people in the world differently as well. One other thing that I realized is that because we're all toxic mentally, I don't allow people to upset me as much anymore, because I realize that it's the toxicity in their mind, in their body, the chemicals that are, negatively affecting their attitude or their thought process. And that's really what it is. It's not just them wanting to be bad people all the time, So it's really, fasting's amazing on so many different levels. I never could have even imagined the way that I view the world now before. And you look back on who you were before, a year ago, 2 years ago, and you think about how you view things, and it's just, you're a completely different person, and it's all good. I have no regrets about this process. I don't worry about who I've lost during this process, because one of the things, like Steve mentioned, sometimes you got to cut people off because they're not good for you. And that's a good thing, because you wonder, like, man, why am I always so emotionally drained? maybe you've got a good relationship with your spouse. You know, maybe it's decent or whatever, but the people around y'all are always emotionally draining you, and you'll be able to pick up on that. So that's huge, man. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, man. I mean, I do want to just piggyback off one thing, because you mentioned drainage and emotional, and that kind of just moves into where I have as spiritual, because when you start fasting, and a lot of people out there, you know, we're all on different levels. So a lot of people out there will understand energy, and some people not quite at that level. But when you start fasting, you will become extremely sensitive to those energies and the people around you. And I'd like to call them energy vampires.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, that's what they are. They're vampires. If you got some energy vampires in your life, go ahead and get them out your life, man. Those energy vampires, they're terrible. They will suck you dry. And then sometimes they're the closest ones to you. Those are the people that they always need something. They're always there. They're always asking for something. They don't bring anything to the table, but yet you love them. They're great people, and they don't mean to hurt you. They don't mean to drain you, but they do. And those are the people that are hardest to get rid of, because they do mean so much to you, but they're draining you. And your energy is so important. And when you start fasting, you'll start to realize that more and more of how important your energy is. And you'll literally feel your energy being drained when you're around certain people. And it's going to take you a little time to get used to it. You're not going to feel that in 5 days.
No.
You're not going to feel it in 5 days.
No.
But when you get to that point, your whole fasting will change your life.
It's going to change your life.
It's going to change your life.
Because it's going to change your perspective. And when you change your perspective, okay, let's talk about your situation with your car right now, because I think it's a good example of changing your perspective, how you look at things. I don't know if you want to go ahead and tell the story real quick.
How far back you want me to go?
No, just recently with, you know, you having to take the car to the shop and what John said.
So what happened was that my old car broke down, and I had to go out and buy a new car. So I went to the dealership, went and bought a new car. Fantastic. Love it. Nothing too crazy, but I just needed something nice, needed something reliable. So got a new car, and as soon as I got the car, it had little issues. Had to take it back to the dealer, had to get a couple things fixed, and I've had to keep taking it back and keep taking it back. So of course, it's a very stressful situation. So the way I looked at it, because I was in it, and it started to weigh on me heavy. I was very stressed. So I reached out to John, I reached out to Chris, and I said, here's the situation. I know I'm in this. Give me some information. So basically, you know, they basically said, well, listen, yeah, you're taking it back to the dealer, and they're switching things out and they're fixing things, but it's not right there. It's not quite right yet. Basically what happened is I'm looking at it like a negative thing, because I have to keep taking it to the dealer. I have to keep, I'm stressed out. I don't have the car that I just bought. And they're looking at it like, well, guess what? You're getting all these things fixed for free. So all these little things that maybe you would have to deal with down the road in 3 years, or all these little things that maybe you'd even realize were an issue yet, they're all getting fixed for free right now. You're not paying for them. You know, you still have a car to use in the meantime. So, I mean, I'm getting around, but I was looking at it one way just because I was in the situation, and it was rough. And they were kind of on the outside looking in, and I have people around me that will be able to look at that situation as well and say, well, no, man, look at it this way. So that's one of the benefits of not just you fasting yourself, because life happens. And even for the strongest person, life happens. I'll be the first one to tell you, life happens. But it's important to have people around you as well that can look at a situation and say, well, look at it this way. They can change your perspective on it. And previously in the past, what will happen is I would be in the same situation, and I talked to one of my friends, and they'd be like, oh man, well, you gotta tell them they gotta fix that, da-da-da-da-da, and now we're both pissed off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, because we're both not thinking clearly. So it was really good to have that outside help.
That shift in perspective. So then I was like, you know what? You're right. That's good. It's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Fix all of it for free.
It all.
Fix it all. Take your time. I'll ride around in your little loaner car take your time.
Right.
I don't have to put miles on my car. I drive a lot.
Yeah.
Take your time, man.
That's amazing.
It is.
That's all we did was take the same situation, and instead of looking at it from down here, we looked at it from up here.
Yeah.
That's it. Same situation.
Yeah.
That's the power of perspective. And that's what fasting does for you. So this is just a simple example of it. But that advice that John gave Steve about changing perspective, that probably is a product of him fasting and him being able to look at things differently. So these are kind of like, I call them off benefits.
Yeah.
They're things that aren't really prevalent, that people don't talk about very much. Only people who fast long term really are able to even see it happening, because it happens so slowly. So if you're not doing long term fasting, it happens so slowly you don't even realize it happens. But it does. And that's why you need to make fasting a lifestyle versus just, I want to lose weight or I want to heal this one thing, right? Like fasting should be a part of our life. It's good for you. Don't let anybody tell you that fasting is ever going to hurt you. He is living proof. What's the longest you've ever fasted?
My longest was 21 days.
21 days.
Yeah.
John did a 23-day fast.
I tried to catch him, but
we had one lady in the group that did a 40-day fast. We've had people doing multiple 20 plus days, 30-day fasts. And then they're doing pure water fasting. They're not doing minerals, salts, and pepper, and sugar, and sweet
cayenne with snake juice.
Now you can do some stuff if you want to stimulate certain organs. I'm like, if you want to do a little herbs with it or whatever, you can. That might help speed up the process of detoxification. But this isn't something that's going to satiate you in any way. You're not doing it for any flavor, because typically those herbs do not taste good. You probably would rather just drink
water. Yeah.
Right. And that'll kind of help speed up the process. And we've talked about that in the past, but yeah, man, I'm glad we're having this talk, because we're getting something new from Steve. We're talking about things that we've never talked about with Mel or with Tiffany or with John. So yeah, let's keep going. What else you got?
So probably on the next thing I have emotional, and that's the next thing on my list, because I was a wreck, and man, this is getting really personal.
It's getting personal. That's what happens when the camera comes on. When you're on a healthy alternative, we talk about personal stuff.
Yeah, it gets personal.
You're gonna help so many people, because there's so many people out there that are going through the same thing you're going through, and they need to understand how fasting is gonna help, and it's not just about weight loss.
Yeah, it's not, and I guess I could just go with kind of how I got started, or why I got started, and what I experienced emotionally. So I got started with fasting because I had gone through really rough relationship, and I have kids. Just in case you guys didn't know, I have 2 kids, and it was a bad situation. And I'm sure that pretty much people can understand a rough relationship. And when you add kids to the mix, it just takes things to a whole different level. So we had been fighting over certain things. And I mean, I pretty much just went to depression, 100% complete depression. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to turn. And Chris was like, hey man, just start fasting. It's a great time to start. You're pretty much at rock bottom. You got nothing else to lose, so just start. And so I was angry. Because of my recent, relationship, and we were separated, so I was angry. So I really started off fasting because I wanted revenge.
Keeping it real.
Yeah, I'm keeping it real, man. You guys, it's personal, man. Don't be telling everybody. It's personal, seriously. But I wanted revenge, right? I mean, we split, and I wanted to look good. I said, man, the next time she sees me, she's gonna realize what you did. All right, so that was the original motivation, and it was good motivation. I took anger, I took depression, I took all these negatives, and I turned into something positive, and that's how I got started. That was the rocket fuel to send me to space. But that was the rocket fuel that got my fasting started. Shortly after that, I, of course, then completely turned that around. And it was no longer out of anger or revenge or anything like that. And if you ever watch this video, I don't hate you. But that's what got me started. So what fasting did was it allowed me to take that anger and that rage and that, you know, that vengeful spirit and basically curtail it. I was, you know, like any other relationship, I was broken into a million pieces, especially emotionally. And this really gave me the strength and the power to really heal myself. And when you are fasting, you know, I would say probably 15 to 20 days. Well, it could be less. Anything over, I'll say 10 days, you're going to hit an emotional, I don't even know what to call it, wall.
Yeah.
And you're going to be one day just laying in your bed, trying to sleep, and you're going to start crying. Your brain is going to start running. You're going to start thinking about relationships that you ended 15, 20 years ago. And you're going to be like, why am I thinking about this person? What is going on? Why do all these feelings come up? Don't run back to them. Don't make any moves on them. But what's happening is that your body is detoxing emotionally as well. Yep. So just like you've probably heard Chris say that, you know, you have these cravings and for things and foods that you haven't had in years, it's a detoxification of those foods.
Right.
And emotionally, you're going to experience the same things. You don't get to pick and choose what you detox.
Yeah.
You don't get to pick and choose what your body changes. Your body is smarter than us.
Right.
Or smarter than you.
Your current conscious you.
Your current conscious you. So it's smarter. So it knows what it needs to deal with. And just like, you know, you stated earlier, it's going to go priority first. And, you know, and sometimes you're going to have to go through those things. And that emotional detox is so very important. And a lot of people, it hurts my heart because they don't get to the point where they don't get that emotional detox. And it's so important. Yeah. Because, and don't take this wrong, but ladies, you're built to hold on. You know, right? I mean, that's babies. You hold things.
You nourish things.
You nourish things, and you don't get to choose what you nourish. It's the same thing, just like a baby and a child. I mean, it's the same thing. Your body, they hold things. So you need that emotional detox, so that way you can purge these issues that mentally that you may have had from past relationships, or, you know, a death in the family, or a loss of a best friend, or anything of that nature. We might feel like we got rid of it, but we didn't. Mm-hmm. We have a subconscious that holds on to things, and it's important for us to be able to rid ourselves of that stuff because we're still holding on to it. And if you don't know you're holding on to it, how can you let it go?
Exactly.
So that's another, I will say, maybe another off benefit to fasting, because I never hear people talk about emotional detox.
Nope.
Never. And like I'm on lots of Facebook groups. I've watched YouTubers. I've watched all types of things. You never hear people talk about emotional detox. And I honestly think they don't talk about it because they've never got to it.
They never got it.
They didn't fast enough.
They didn't fast long enough or long enough. Or they didn't fast long enough or long enough.
Right, long enough or long. You gotta fast, man. Consistently. And what'll happen is you'll start to let these things go. You'll start to forgive people that wronged you in the past. You'll start to think about people that you haven't, talked to in years. You have that family member that you fell out with. You have that cousin. You have that aunt. You have that uncle. You have that brother that you're no longer friends with. Fast. You will emotionally detox that emotion, and you can rebuild that bridge.
Right.
They're getting hot, man. I'm sorry. I'm passionate.
Man, that passion.
Passionate. Fasting has changed my life, guys. And emotionally, I was able to take a really, really tough situation and a really rough relationship for me, and forgive that person, and really move on with my life.
Right.
And my life is complete. I don't even know the person. It hasn't even been a year. I haven't even been doing this for a year yet.
Hasn't been a year.
If you knew me previously, I don't even know who that person is. Mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, in any kind of way, I'm completely different on all levels. So,
Take a breath, man.
I gotta take a breath, man.
Take a breath. Every once in a while, I get on my soapbox and I start going all passionate.
People like, I'm ranting. I'm sorry, I'm ranting.
That's just the type of people we are. But the reality is that we want you as a viewer, because you're just watching it, right? You're not actually sitting here with us, but we want you to be able to receive our energy through the screen so that you understand how powerful this is. Right? Because nobody's talking about this stuff, and it's so good that I'm able to get my brothers who are very, very close to me to do these long-term fasts so that they can pretty much, what's the word I'm looking for?
Support what you're saying, or not just that. I mean, just give another perspective to take what you're saying and to test it.
Test it. Let's test it and verify.
It's not just one person.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the thing about, and of course I talk about YouTube because we're on YouTube now, and a lot of people are on YouTube and a lot of people watch YouTubers. Whew. But it's usually you get one person talking about the same thing. And it's like, I benefited this, I experienced that, or I this, I that, I this. Well, show me someone else.
Right.
And you have a laundry list, not just you, and not just brothers, and parents. I mean, other relatives, friends, and not just you have a list of people. I have a list of people that I've helped as well.
Right.
And when they fast the way that we tell them to fast, they experience the same benefits.
Right.
And the only time that I talk to people or have this conversation with people that have different benefits or don't experience, the quality of benefits is because they're not fasting like we told them to fast.
They're listening to someone else. Hey, you can fast and lose weight. All you gotta do is just put a little this in your water. Have a little bone broth. Eat a little something every once in a while. It's, the reality is you guys are making it harder on yourself, especially if you want to do long-term fasting. So if your goal is to do 15 days and you're putting a little bit of something in your water, or you're eating a little bit of something here and there, chewing gum, whatever, all it does is make it harder for you. So your eating is going to create appetite, right? One of the things I noticed is when I do my long-term fasting and I'm going beyond 5 days, and I hit that Goldilocks state where I feel good, I'm not hungry, it's all easy money. If I eat something or if I drink something, because there's been times I've tested doing juice, supplementing with juice. I noticed that once I hit it one time, I'm hitting it again, I'm hitting it again, I'm hitting it again.
And you know what? Because I've done a lot of fasting, of course, obviously. And I don't just fast the way that, we tell you to fast. I don't just fast with water. I do, but I've done other fasts on purpose. Not because I'm like, oh man, Chris, this 10 days is so hard. Right. I need me some bone broth, man. Right. I don't do it just because I feel like I need me some vegetable juice. You know what I mean? I do it because I want to experiment for myself. People say, well, Steven, I do bone broth and it makes it easier for me, and that's just what I do, and I still lose a pound a day. But well, here's the thing. I've done all those as well. I've done salt. I've done I've added juice. I've done chicken broth, vegetable broth, bone broth. If you name it, I've done it, and I've done it on purpose. I've done OMAD. I've done keto. I've tried it all. And yes, water fasting is the hardest, but it also gives you the best results in all ways, not just weight loss, just on all facets. Now, pause for a second because water fasting is hard, but I know there's a little taboo on the page, but I got to talk about this a little bit. But that dry fasting is a little bit harder. But dry fasting is a lot better. So
no, go ahead.
Okay.
Let me clarify. The reason why I don't talk about dry fasting is because I have not done dry fasting. I don't have a problem with you guys playing around with dry fasting and doing other things. I just want you to have a good understanding of what you're doing, because the research that I have done on dry fasting, people can hurt themselves. When I talk about fasting can't hurt you, I'm talking about water fasting. dry fasting can hurt you, especially if you're doing long-term dry fasting. That's not to say that dry fasting will hurt you because it's bad for you. It's that if you don't understand what you're doing, you can hurt yourself. And it has been documented that people have died where they've gone on long dry fasts and then just drank water like crazy and they've killed themselves. So keep that in mind. Dry fasting can be done very safely and you could get very good results, as we're going to get into in a second. But when you do long-term dry fasting and you come out and you like when you eat and you do fasting and you come out and you eat a whole bunch, it's going to mess you up.
You don't feel good.
You don't feel good. With dry fasting, if you do long-term dry fasting, you come out, you start drinking and eating, you could kill yourself. Yeah. So it's a different thing. You got to be careful. And the reason why, let me explain why just briefly. The organs that they profess are designed to do this digesting and all this stuff. That's not what they're designed to do. So your stomach has the ability to digest food, break down food, and start this process of metabolizing the food. But that's not the only thing it does. And when you start fasting and dry fasting, those things that you thought like that's its job to do, it starts stopping. It doesn't do it anymore. It stops. It doesn't produce the digestive juices. Your stomach starts to shrink. Just think about that. Why would your body shrink your stomach if you're designed to eat and you're designed to digest food and you're designed to do all that? Why, when you start dry fasting or fasting, do these organs start going dormant, right? Now, one of the things that we talked about was the mental clarity, right? Well, where does that come from? Well, you're detoxing. It's literally you're cleansing your brain. It doesn't have the mucus and all the acid and everything. But also you start utilizing your second mind, which is in your gut. You ever heard of a gut feeling? That is a real thing. And we don't have access to it because our bodies are always detoxing and digesting food. When you start fasting, your body starts utilizing that second mind. It's more brain power. It's like if you take a computer and you add 4 gigs of RAM to your computer is like, what do you need? I got it all. What do you want? Give me more. You know what I mean? So with that being said, that's my disclaimer. Take it away.
So pretty much told him everything, man.
I ain't tell him nothing.
Yeah, they ain't tell him nothing. So dry fasting is very simple. It is the absence of water. So you can do two types of dry fasting. There's hard dry fasting, which I have not done and will not do because I have kids and I'm busy. But hard dry fasting is no contact with water at all. So no showers, no brushing your teeth, no touching rain, no washing your hands. Something I'm just not interested in doing. But regular dry fasting or soft dry fasting is no ingestion of water. So you don't drink water. You can still brush your teeth. You can still, hygienify yourself. You can still take showers. I would not suggest taking a bath simply because your skin absorbs water like crazy.
A lot.
Like, you don't even know. Even normal, just you absorb so much through your skin. Yeah, it's insane. So don't take a bath, but you go ahead and take a shower. And basically what happens is that the reason you can dry fast is very simple. Your body has water already. So I don't want to get really into water too much. I'll let you talk about that.
We've talked about water before.
We've talked about water before. So basically, you already got water inside of you. So we don't necessarily need to ingest it in the levels that they state that we should. Of course, they say after 3 days with no water, you're gonna die. I'm telling you, I'm right here, guys. So the longest dry fast I've done was actually 6 days.
That's impressive.
It's very impressive.
Very impressive.
It's not that easy. I actually, if you remember, I was shooting for 10. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I had to break my fast was because I started a new job and I had to take a drug test.
Yep, I remember.
And I went to go take my drug test and I couldn't pee because I peed that morning. So when you wake up, even with dry fasting, you pee every day, multiple times through the day. You don't pee as much, but you still use the bathroom.
Where's all that water coming from? Maybe because we're made of like 90% water.
I don't know.
You'll die without water.
But I'm peeing, but I'm not drinking, so that's neither here nor there. But just think about that. So I just couldn't. I peed a little bit, but I couldn't get enough, so I had to sit there and I had to drink water to get my drug test done. But the goal was actually 10 days, but I fell a little short. What I experienced with dry fasting was a completely different set of detox symptoms. So I felt detox symptoms I never got with water fasting. I also had a completely different set of benefits. So, I mean, they're very, very similar benefits, but I had spiritual benefits and that were on a whole nother level. So a lot of people out there, we talk about the physical and we talk about, emotional and those type of benefits. And there's a lot of people out there that say, well, hey, who fasts for spiritual reasons? Maybe you don't need to lose weight. Maybe you're already an alkaline vegan, or maybe you're fruitarian, or maybe you're just in general in great health and you want to feel a higher connection to an outward being or, to whatever you believe in. Start dry fasting. Okay? I'm telling you, I had lucid dreams.
I remember.
A lucid dream, for you guys that don't know, is a dream that you're dreaming and you can physically control the dream. It is extremely powerful. You start to, I don't want to get too much into the spiritual realm, but you will start to connect with the energies, and you will, see different energies, and you may see colors, and it's not you're not hallucinating, you're lucid dreaming. And there's people that see energies that they're not dreaming, they're not asleep, and you don't even need to dry fast to see that. But for those of you who want spiritual benefits, do a little dry fasting. My weight loss was off the charts during those times. Let me just tell you guys where I was at. I had already lost 115, 120 pounds, something like that. Well, I won't say 120. I was probably down about 110 when I first started dry fasting. And so it wasn't like, oh, this is water weight you're losing, this is just garbage weight. I was already leaning up. So I was losing on average 3 pounds a day when I was dry fasting. I don't even know how to explain it.
See, that's why I had you write everything down, because it's hard to put in words, and so many things happen. I know that you were connecting energetically. You were able to manipulate things in your life manually. Yeah. Right? Like even the car that he originally got, the one that the one that broke down, not the one we were just talking about, but he got a car before that. And he was, he's in a situation where he only had a few bucks, and this car looked good. It was the right price. And those cars at the time were flying off the website. Like, people would put a car on there, and a couple of days later, it's gone. So, if I'm not mistaken, you had made a call to the guy. He was gonna come. He was gonna let you see it, but there was one person in front of you.
Yeah.
And I remember he hit me up. He was like, "Yo, Chris, I'm about to wheel this other buyer out of the picture."
That's literally what I said.
He literally said that, and I think it was maybe the same day.
I told him, I said, I'm going to send my spiritual energy to the other buyer, and something is going to happen, and he will not be able to come buy that car, and I'm going to go up later and buy it. Watch. I was probably on day 4 of a dry fast.
I told him, I said, "Hey, Steve, man, I said, don't be manipulating people's lives. Don't be moving people's lives around." But yeah, later on that day or the next day, he texted me. He was like, "Guess what?"
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And I don't even have to tell y'all what happened. You know what happened.
You know what happened.
The buyer couldn't make it. He couldn't come out. So the guy called me and said, "Hey, something happened. The guy's not able to get out here. You still want to come see the car?" I said, "Yup." Rode up there, cash in hand, picked up the car, and the car at that time was fantastic. It was perfect what I needed. And there's been other situations as well.
Right.
But, I mean, that's just one little snippet. But literally being able to will and manually change things because I was that connected.
Right.
Dry fasting, man.
Dry fasting.
If you want some spiritual connection, I'm telling you, that's the way to do it. Then you can do the same thing with water fasting, but for those out there that are saying, I want the spiritual connection, dry fast. And just in anyone out there, I'll say this, man, go ahead and do a day.
Do a day.
Go ahead and do a day.
Do a day. A day won't hurt you. One day won't hurt you.
Won't hurt you.
A day a week, or every couple of maybe every 3 days you do a day.
Do a day.
That won't hurt you. And that's actually probably a good way to get started dry fasting, because it's a little harder. One thing I want to ask you, when you were dry fasting, did you think about food at all?
Oh man. To be honest with you, I literally did not think about food at all. That was actually the crazy part. When you're water fasting, all you can think about is food. When you're dry fasting, all you think about is water.
Water.
So just wrap that around your brain. So food was not even, I did not care about food. I said, let me just get a sip. Let me just get
just something to wet your whistle.
Let me just wet my whistle. So the only time that I touched water was in the morning in the shower, and of course when I brushed my teeth, and then for the rest of the day, that was it. I will say this though, after day 3, I got a crazy amount of energy. So with water fasting and dry fasting, benefits, detox symptoms, they're all more intense. So just like you get that fasting energy when you're water fasting, same thing with dry fasting, but the energy is more intense. So same thing with the tiredness. When you're water fasting, you get that fatigue. Dry fasting, it's more intense.
Right.
So it's the risk versus reward type situation. So, but I wasn't thirsty after about day 3. The only reason I broke that fast is because I had to take the drug test. But I'm sure, just like with water fasting, that tiredness, that thirst would have come back.
Comes in waves.
Yeah,
probably.
come in a wave just like that. But dry fasting is awesome. Give it a day.
I like that. All right, guys, we have talked about a lot, and we have hit some new topics and new subjects. I feel really good about this. Anyway, look, guys, if you want to interact with Steve, if you want to contact Steve, if you want to learn more about Steve, how did Steve lose? How much was it?
I'm over 130 pounds. I'm not even done yet.
We're not done. We're not done yet. We're over 130 pounds in 10 months.
Yeah. We're right at 10 months.
We're at 10 months.
Yeah.
130 plus pounds in 10 months.
Probably about 132 and some change.
Okay,
but
whatever.
I still got about 25 more to go.
We're going to get him down to 180. We're going to get him down to 180. Mark my words.
I thought we said 200.
Yeah, that was a lie. We're going to get him down to 180.
Hey, man. Hold on now. Cut the camera. Hey, man, I thought we said 200.
Yeah,
man.
we're going to do 180. That's what I said originally. We're going to get him down to 180, and then we're going to build him back up to 200.
Oh, okay. We can do that.
See the difference?
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Break me down. We got to build me back up.
That's how you do it. We got to get rid of all the dead protein, all the bad protein, and get completely detoxified. We're going to slim you out. You're going to look sick, and then we're going to give you a couple pounds of the alkaline food and the gym and make it look good.
Man. Ladies, listen, I'll be back. I promise. I'll be back.
He's going to look like me. So if you guys are all right with the way I look, then I look healthy. That's it. My skin is glowing.
Got good skin, man.
You know?
My skin's not that good yet.
It took me 2 years to get this, because even when I started the channel, my skin wasn't this nice.
I'm working
so
on it.
it's a process. It's a process. We're gonna get your liver going, start getting some of the stones out. You're gonna start feeling good, and it works too.
I already
it
feel
definitely
good,
works.
but I want to feel better.
He's gonna make you feel better. So check out the Facebook group, A Healthy Alternative on Facebook.
Yes.
You could interact with Steve and Michael over there,
buddy.
ask more questions, etc., etc. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, well, maybe not exact, this is a very special video, but similar to this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And as always, the application of knowledge is power, and we will see you guys next time.
Peace out, y'all.
I'm gonna cut that part out.
Oh!